There we go. No panicking there. So just whilst we're waiting for everybody to flood in, what we want to do before we do the introductions, and I'll tell you exactly what we're going to be discussing today. What we wanted to do is just do a quick poll and just ask, or actually first, I'm going to ask actually, can everybody confirm that they can hear me loud and clear? If someone can just pop in the chat, looks like someone's popped their hand up, which should be a good indication. And thank you, Debbie Morag. Oh, everyone's coming in now. Thank you, everyone, for confirming you can hear us, which is great. And yeah, so we're just going to start and kick off with a quick poll, and just to get us started and understanding where we all are. So the question that I have for you is, how confident are you in having conversations around funding with your clients on a scale of 1 to 10? So you should see that poll pop up now. If you could just start filling that out. And as we see that running through, I'll give you a moment for everybody to respond, and then I will end the poll.
Whilst we're doing that, I just want to give a little bit of market insight, given you guys bothered to turn up on time. So we might have a few more late stragglers, but I'll give you some golden nuggets. We're getting asked quite a lot at the moment about the recovery loan scheme, which I think most of you will probably know is coming to an end in June. And we get asked quite a lot about whether there is still appetite out there for the lenders to be giving out recovery loans, and what sort of appetite there is still with lenders. So there is still appetite, I'm here to say. It does end in June, like I said, but don't wait until June. So if you do feel like you have clients, and this isn't just my way of me trying to get you to use the Swoop platform. This is true from the lender's mouth. There is still appetite, but the appetite probably won't be there right until the end of June. So if you are thinking you might have some clients that, for example, might want to refinance the C-bills, which is one thing that we're doing quite a lot of at the moment, is refinancing C-bills into RLS, especially as repayments are starting to come due for clients and businesses who may still have, maybe still feel like they're a bit strapped for cash. You can refinance those onto RLS for the right type of businesses, get yourself a bit of extra breathing space with interest-only payments and over a lot longer time, and under the RLS than you can on C-bills. So don't wait until the last minute. If you do want us just to have a look at a case, we can talk a bit about the funding documents and requirements that might be needed for those, but it can't harm to have a look. Plus it's a nice thing to be talking to your clients about when thinking about giving those little extra added value nuggets. And then just another thing quickly on the construction industry. Again, we get asked a lot about construction. If you do have clients in that space, unfortunately, the appetite for lending is decreasing across the board. There are still some lenders who are still actively looking for good businesses in the space, but a lot of lenders are overexposed after the last couple of years, having done a lot of lending in that space. So whilst we're not saying I'm not saying that we can't fund your construction clients. Again, just don't wait, because the appetite is just getting less and less and less. So do speak to us if you want any more information on construction industry and the types of funding that might be available for them.
Thank you, Sam. And I guess, yeah, that there's the other conversation, which we'll no doubt do another session, is what happens to personal guarantees when the RLS does end. Obviously, that has been a very attractive proposition to state that you don't have to give a personal guarantee. It's going to pose questions. What's going to happen post RLS? Yeah,
just on that as well, Sam. It's a really good point. And the banks some are starting to move away from RLS already and trying to get a PG in place instead. So looking at just a usual loan, a term loan, rather than the RLS. Obviously, the benefits of having a PG is that you're going to get a cheaper rate. But lots of people, out of principle, don't like giving a personal guarantee. So you're right. It's coming to an end, but they are starting to change that and request a PG right now too. Thanks for your question, Paul. RLS is the recovery loan scheme. Apologies. Do ask any questions. If we we can be guilty of using all the acronyms in there. So RLS was is the older brother of the CBILS, which is the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, and that was the slightly older brother of the bounce back loan. So these are all the government backed loans that have been in place since the COVID pandemics began.
Yeah, thank you. Right, so thank you for that, Sam. I have closed the poll and I can share the results. So we have a real mix actually across the board actually. So we have some people sitting in the 2 out of 10, anything up to 10 out of 10. So I wonder if we've got some of our fund managers on that saying that they're 10s out of 10. But great to see that we've got people with funding knowledge on the call, and also a real mix as well. And hopefully, we should be able to help elevate you, and Stuart can share some of his stories as to how we've helped as well. So without further ado, I'm going to firstly thank you everybody for taking the time out. I appreciate it's an extremely busy time at the moment. We'll probably come to VAT end and all sorts of VAT quarters. We've got loads of conference seasons coming up. We've got bank holidays. So yes, appreciate everybody for joining us. What we're going to run through today, I'll do a quick introduction to the 3 people on the call. I'm then going to give you an update as to where we are as Swoop as a business and how we're supporting our advisors. We'll take you through a bit more of the showing you some of the services we've built and the benefits, but also we'll show you the new platform, which is obviously why the invite was sent out, to show you the new platform and essentially how much easier it is for you to interact and use our systems. And then what we're going to do is spend some time with Stuart, and just as one of our advisors, just to understand how he's working with us now, and essentially what challenges he's had and how he's overcome them and so on. It's going to be very conversational. If anybody, you know me already, I like to chat. So does Sam, and so does Stuart. So there'll be a lot of chatting throughout. Stuart, please feel free to jump in at any point as well. If there's anything you want to discuss, and anybody in the chat as well. Anybody wants to throw anything through, just start firing them through as we go. If I don't see them, Sam will see them, and if Sam doesn't see them, Stuart will see them. So we will pick them up and work through them as we go. So I guess to introduce myself, Sam Horner, head of advisor channel here at Swoop. My background, Sam always gets bored of hearing this, but 20 years in professional services, 10 years in banking, 2 years in legal, and just over 2 years in legal, and then coming up to 7 years working in the accounting, I guess, tech space. One of the early joiners at Receipt Bank, so saw that rocket ship from 40 staff to 480 staff, had an amazing time over a 4-year period. Went to go join Futurely, worked closely on the partnerships. Now, if you all know forecasting, if you're telling somebody they're growing, they need growth for their business, or they're running out of money, typically you're going to want to talk funding. So the first partnership I built, I met with every funding platform in the land, and fell in love with what Swoop were doing. Worked with them for 18 months in a partnership and fell in love that much that came over to head up the advisor channel and essentially understand how we can support accountants like yourselves and advisors further. Sam, do you want to give yourself a brief? He's going to say, I'm not going to give you a long history like Sam's, but
yeah. How did you know? I was going to say I'll keep my life story a little bit shorter. But yeah, hi everyone. I'm Sam as well. We only really recruit Sams and Toms at Swoop. So I'm a chartered accountant myself, like many of you here. Have got involved in software over the last 2 years. Sam introduced me to Clarity previously, and I worked there for 18 months, helping accountants scale their advisory services. And then Sam stole me back and brought me over to Swoop. And on the funding side, in the past, when I was in practice, I used various software, like for example, Capitalize, and found it quite difficult when I was in practice to be talking about funding. It all felt very reactive. And my passion now is to help you guys be proactive with funding in terms of spotting those opportunities for your clients, getting out there and adding these little added value bits of information. And you'll find it's very rewarding and fulfilling helping businesses get funding, either to help them to survive what's been a very difficult time, as we know, or to help them as a key part of their growth plans. So keen to chat to Stuart and get get some of his thoughts in a second. Before I pass on to you, Stuart, though, I just want to answer Michael's question in the chat. Sam, are you happy for us to just
as I said, just we'll keep it really relaxed and let it flow, go whichever way it needs to go.
Cool. Michael, typical RLS rates are on average between 8 and 11%, but there are some lenders that go a lot lower. So Starling Bank, for example, have gone as low as 3 to 5%. But you've got to, they have some much stricter criteria, and they're not giving that rate out willy-nilly, but it is there for the right business. And yeah, those that can show both pre-COVID profitability as well as post-COVID profitability. So average 8 to 11.
And good to see you on here, Michael. Stuart, please, thank you firstly for joining us, but please tell us a bit about yourself and Tandem.
Hi, hello everyone. Yes, my name's Stuart and I'm the director of Tandem Business Solutions. I was introduced to Swoop actually via an accountant. He thoroughly recommended them, just saying, you know, what the things that they were doing for him and his practice. So I got in touch, and yeah, here I am today. So
the rest is history.
The rest is history.
The marriage starts there. Perfect. Thank you, Stuart. And we will be digging a bit deeper into what Stuart's doing, and anything. Hopefully, we will be asking you too challenging the question. But yeah, it'd be good to hear from you a little bit further as well, Stuart. So, as I alluded to earlier, we as a team, so joined in September, and we as a team, the advisor team, have been working hard in the background to actually understand what do our advisors need. You know, when we say advisors, it's accountants and bookkeepers essentially, as a whole. What do they need? What tools can we give them to be able to support them to, as Sam said earlier, from being a reactive service from funding to actually becoming a proactive part of and a core part of their business. And, you know, we've gone back and forth, and actually was consulting with Sam before he joined, just getting his thoughts on where we were going and what we were doing. And we think we've come up with a real good starting point in terms of how to support our accountants and advisors. And, you know, if I think back to when I did join in September, you know, we've done an amazing job in supporting accountants so far, but actually we were almost heavily reliant on the technology. And we know that relationship and actually the tools, other tools to give you support to be able to speak to clients were really important. So what we've been working in the background, again, I'll share some of the things now, other than the new platform to support advisors and accountants as a whole, is actually what other things can we bring in that will help you, one, spot opportunities to support clients, but again, be able to be that proactive accountant that we know you all want to be, and want to be able to support those clients. And actually, let's be honest, the more exciting part of accounting as well, where you're getting involved in the business and getting your hands dirty and wanting to support them. Sam, is there anything you wanted to add on that before I go through and just give it a bit of an update?
No, it might just be not everyone will know possibly what Swoop do. So maybe just giving a bit of an over. I know you're going to go and do that within the tech, but maybe just a quick overview of all of the various things we can do to help.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I should hope you are, because you're all signed up on the platform. But you're right, you know, and maybe they came on and just know one area of Swoop as well, rather than the whole thing. So I'm going to bring up a slide and share screen on that note, and just to give you, I guess, a better overview of who we are. Now, can everybody see my screen now? Perfect. Okay, so I think this depicts and displays what we do at Swoop really well. So Swoop has been built it's not just about debt. Debt isn't always the answer for a client. And whenever we're engaging with one of your clients, it's about, okay, you may think this is the solution that you need, but actually let us have a look at that business and understand exactly what it is they do need. So if I start from the grant side of things, so we have a grant finding tool built within Swoop, and I'll show you it in a moment, where all we need to do when you've added the client is simply pulling through the company SIC code and also their location. And based on that information, we will display what grants are available to them throughout the UK. So whether it be a local grant, whether it be a national grant, or indeed some kind of innovate grant. So if they have something innovative around their business, it's going to be displaying that information within here. Now, if any of you have searched and tried to find a grant for your clients, I'm pretty confident you've struggled, and it's a nightmare to be able to find that information. And yeah, we hear it every time, and clients love free money. So yeah, we've built that so you can see exactly what is available. We're not saying they are 100% going to get that, but it is saying, okay, this is available because of the type of business they're in, and actually the location that they're in. You can click on here and apply through for the local grants. If it's something like an Innovate grant or a larger grant, we actually have grant writers who will be able to support your clients as well. So again,
just on that, it's absolutely gold dust being able to go to your clients and say, by the way, you may be eligible for these 5 grants, whatever it might be, because okay, it's a click of the button for you to find that out. But from their point of view, you may as well have researched for hours and hours on end, because that's what we used to have to do in the past to find out what grants were available for. So, to go armed and ready in a meeting, or to provide a little bit of proactive added value advice, just using the grant finder is just a great way to get started.
It's huge. It really is. And it's unique as well. There's not many people that can offer this, and we update on a daily basis, new ones coming on and ones that have obviously expired, so you're getting the most up-to-date information within there as well. We've also got the equity side as well. Actually, again, do we want to be loading the business with debt? Is there an option to look at equity instead? Now, when we look at the equity and the equity team that we work with, we have, and again, the number varies on from different people I speak to, but we've got around 250 to 300 VCs and investors on our network, who are part of our network, sorry. And the purpose of the equity team is actually to ensure that your client is investor ready, and to get them, ensuring there's a pitch deck in place. We've got templates if there isn't. Understanding actually, is that business at the right stage for investment? Do they need to go away and build their monthly recurring revenue first, or what is it that they need to do before we get them and put them in front of our investors? So our equity team work closely with your client to understand if it's investable, but also who will it be investable with, and at what stage do we put the introduction together? So it's essentially a dating service amongst the investors. Now, I know you may be on this call and think, oh, well, I've got a number of investors that I know. They're typically going to be local to you. And I guess this is the point of Swoop as well, is everything we have is on a national basis. So there might be ones that you're not aware of that actually love ed tech, or want to look at, I don't know, some kind of bio renew. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, but something that the typical investors in London have all seen every day, but actually we've got one who's based in the north that hasn't seen this one. So it's about being able to connect it to the right people and getting them the right chances of investment. Anything you want to add on that, Sam? Yeah.
Just equity's a really interesting area, and it's the sexy one. I think it's the one that everyone gets really excited about. What I think is I think it's useful for accountants to have at least a good surface knowledge of equity, or what makes a business investable. But it's also worth just managing expectations with investment. So on average in the UK, 1 in 1,000 businesses manages to get equity funding. Now, we've had some of our advisors who I've been working with who have said, oh, I've got some amazing businesses who are all after investment. I would expect 60% of them to be funded. Now, I know you guys all think your clients are the bee's knees and they all have amazing businesses, but unfortunately the reality is that the majority of them won't. But what we're trying to do, by putting them through the Swoop portal and through the eyes of our Swoop team, you're at least giving them the best chance possible that they can, not only through going to a wider network, but also with the pitch readiness service. It's just giving those guys the best chance. It's also giving you the opportunity to create an amazing service for those businesses without even really having to lift a finger. So yeah, definitely worth its weight in gold. Just useful knowledge in terms of managing those expectations that only 1 in 1,000 businesses in the UK manage to get investment.
Yeah, exactly. It's because your mum and dad said it's good idea. It's a good idea. And onto the debt side. So we have over 400 different lenders on our platform across the commercial property and also the unsecured end of the business. Now, the reason why we have so many lenders on there is because we want to be able to support the majority of businesses, not the minority of businesses. You know, it's fine having your tier 1 banks on there on the panel, but actually they're not necessarily going to be the right funder for all clients, and we know that they've all hit their targets for lending for 2025 now, so they're going to be very, very particular in who they lend to. But also there's some amazing new lenders out there, but also new products are out there that are thinking very different to the traditional way of lending, and will be more perhaps algorithm based or based on monthly recurring revenue for businesses. And there's a lot more options out there essentially for clients. And what we're trying to do, or what we are doing, is saying, okay, we have all those options available. So, and that point I mentioned earlier, you might come in thinking we want an RLS for 250,000, but in reality, you might walk away with 3 different products. One of them being a grant that's obviously free money, but actually might be these are more suitable for your business because they will help you with your growth and support you along the way, and not just give you that answer right now. It's about actually how can we support you moving forward. The other area that we major in as well is looking at savings for your businesses, for your clients. So, you know, if we are pulling all this rich data through on, you know, through your client and information within the system, then actually why not we look at what things are available to them. So that could be anything from business current accounts. You know, what are they paying at the moment with their current providers? Can we make them savings through our bank account switching service? Insurance, energy, we know that's an unregulated market, and it's a bit of a hot topic at the moment. You know, can we make them savings on their current business plans? But also then looking at foreign exchange. You know, most businesses have some kind of foreign transactions, albeit it might be software subscriptions that they're paying in dollars. There's the chance there's going to be savings there. And I'll give you a tip: if they're doing foreign exchange transactions through their bank, they're being fleeced. There is money to be saved there. So again, we can help and support your clients in making savings as well. Sam, anything you wanted to add on there?
Just to add, you know, savings is a great place to start, especially we all know the cost of living is going up and up and up. So if you can be talking to your clients about how they might be able to save some, look after the pennies, look after the pounds, and all that sort of stuff, and start to look at closing up shop in terms of just looking after those extra pounds. So savings is a great place to start. We've got lots of interest in the FX trading recently, particularly with accountants who have a specialism in e-commerce, who are trading all around the world. If they can hedge in a decent forex rate, like you said, Sam, that they're getting fleeced if they're going directly to their bank. So it's a really nice added benefit.
Cool, thank you. I cannot see any of I couldn't see the chat then whilst I was sharing, just checking if there was any questions that had come through. What I'm going to do now is just talk you through some of the benefits that we've built in to our advisor program. Again, really thinking about how we can support you with your clients on and actually help spot opportunities to be able to support them, and also potentially prospects as well. So without further ado, I will share screen again and to confirm that you guys can see. So one of the things that we also looked at is what information can we find, or how can we help you know, in the first instance, our advisors to move away from, again, We know that you are struck with time. There's always something else that needs to be done within the business. You want to get closer to your clients. You want to be able to review your clients on a more regular basis. So how can we take that weight off your shoulders and make that bit easier for you? So what we've produced, and again, these are being iterated all the time and improved. But what we've produced is something called a capital report. Now, for the capital report, you'll see we co-brand them. Obviously, your logo will be sitting on here. You can remove our logo if you really wanted to. But the idea behind the capital reports is actually to give you a snapshot of the business. So all we need to be able to run the capital report is a company name. Now, bear in mind, all the information that we're sharing here is publicly available information. You would have to pull about four different sources to be able to get this report together. So we're doing the heavy lifting for you in terms of getting that information into one. And the idea behind it is to give you a snapshot of that business. So you can see here instantly we've pulled out the credit score of the business. We've also pulled out the Delphi score of the business as well. This is something that funders use to make their decision on how risky that business is and how appropriate it is to lend to them. Now you'll see down at the bottom, it'll give you, it basically gives you a key to show what that actually means. So looking at this business, 70 out of 100 and a risk score of 1, it looks a fairly fundable business. Now, that isn't going to be the case with every client when you run through. So if you can start to see that they've got a low credit score and the risk rating is high, then there's conversations that need to be started with that client. If they are looking for growth funding, if they're looking for some kind of funding in the future, we need to understand why those scores are where they are. So it's a great conversation starter with that client. But also, if it is a high score, great, we've got a tick. We know that, potentially, obviously, there's going to be potential things in the background, but that's given us confidence that we should be able to go to the right lenders and get the right rates that are needed. What we also do as well is pull through data from Companies House. Now, granted, yes, people are going to go, this isn't the most up-to-date information because it's the last filed accounts, but it gives us an understanding and a snapshot of that business. And it gives us a bit of an indication. We'll pull out any charges that are on there so we can see who they're with, we can see how much the amount is. So again, we can look to potentially rebroke the current charges in place. And then based on the information that we have, we will then start to put together what areas that we support and where we think we can help this client. So you'll see here, for example, it's saying equity, they're over 7 years old, so they don't qualify for the SEIS EIS program. However, they do have a sustainable approach to the business. There's potentially some investment matches we could explore. We've identified the top 3 grants that are available for the business as well, which is included in this. And then again, we're also talking about the different areas we can support them. For example, it's saying they've got a strong cash position, so there may be some savings that savings accounts that we can create for these clients.
Sam, we've got a quick question from Jonathan, and it's a good question. Are Xero now allowing a direct feed into Swoop, or are they still being silly about it?
Unfortunately, Jonathan, it's the latter. They still have a lock on funding platforms or aggregators, as we're known, having direct access to the API. Now, you will probably see that Capitalize have an integration currently. Now, it's only for their Monitor product, which is a monitoring service on small businesses, on the credit score and so on, but they cannot use a direct integration to find matches for funding. So they can only use it for that particular product. So it looks like they have it, but they only have it for Monitor. We are working on something at the moment, which will mean that we will be able to surface cash flow forecasting. For that, we will have a direct integration to Xero. They will not allow us to have a third party, so it will be a direct integration with Xero. So you've just a spoiler alert there. But we will have cash flow forecasting insights, and a 3-way forecast can be pulled through Swoop. We are working on that at the minute, which is probably the next question when's that to go live. I will say summer. I won't say what year. I'll just say summer. Working in tech for that long, you don't quote dates. So we will have an integration with Xero, but we won't be able to use it direct for the funding. However, and Sam will see this more than I do, working on the partner side or the success side. we don't actually see it as much of a barrier. Genuinely don't see it as much of a barrier, because for you to be able to pull, download and upload 12 months, the last 2 years accounts of MI, we know it's not that difficult to get out. So it's not actually caused as much of a headache so far, but yes, it would be the dream if they could do it. So Jonathan, if you do want to write to Xero and voice your concerns and frustrations, more than happy for you to do that. And if anyone else on the call wants to do that, that's fine. But hopefully that has given you a bit of insight and some good news as to we will have something with Xero, just not the whole thing.
Yeah, just to reiterate that it hasn't been a blocker to progress. It is so easy, as you guys will know these days, to pull off a report from your cloud accounting software and then just upload it again. So it's not a blocker, but it's something that takes maybe a minute rather than a few seconds.
We had another question come through. Don't worry, I will. Perfect. Thank you, Jonathan. We love people like you. And Morag, yes, we do have an integration with QuickBooks. So basically, it's every accounting integration bar Xero, essentially, that we have. We've got Free Agent on there as well. Sage you can pull through from as well. So yeah, we have all the major cloud accounting except Xero. So please, Jonathan, look forward to that. BCC me into it. It'll be quite interesting. So yeah, on the report, as we mentioned, it's designed to start a conversation, whether it's in a review with the client, whether it's a prospect that you're looking to work with. Being able to deliver this and show them, give them that insight that they wouldn't already know. It might actually, even thinking about this as well, if you think somebody's preparing for exit at some point, or they're looking to, they sell the business or whatever, this is what the outside world is seeing of them. If they have low score and high risk of default and so on, the buyer is going to struggle to get funding for that business. So it's about really, really important to start fixing that now and understanding what are the fundamental issues within that business. And we can go deeper to understand what is wrong with that score, and we can work with you and a third party we work with to find out what those reasons are and how we can help improve them as well. Sam, anything you want to add on the capital reports, again, from seeing it on the cold face, as it were?
Yeah, I'll just tell you sort of how it's being used in practice, really. So, the capital reports, like you alluded to, Sam, some of the information in there might be out of date because it is from the last set of filed accounts. The whole purpose of them, though, is really just to be a conversation starter. So sometimes the most difficult thing to do is to get started. And that quite often is the case with funding. Like, where should I start this conversation in the whole wide world of things that I do talk to my clients about? And having something like that as a report that you can either run through, you can send it to your clients if you want to, or you can just pick out the bits that you find particularly interesting or that you think would be quite thought-provoking for the client. The credit score might be that. It might jog your ideas that you haven't looked at, whether there might be R&D involved in the business. Whatever it might be, there's always a few good nuggets in there that you can just use to start the conversation with the client, and that's half the battle. Is just getting started.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a working document you can have a reference. You can reference it in the meeting, can't you? Or a reason to have the meeting in the first place. So hopefully that gives you some good insight as to what we've been working on from a capital report perspective. Also, what we recognise as well is, firstly, the reward of working with Swoop. We appreciate, we're working with you and your clients to find them funding. So actually, what we've built through the paid version, which is where we get the capital reports and so on, we've actually increased the commission as well on there. So on the current free platform that the majority of you will be working on, it's a 10% commission on what we receive from the funders. We've now increased that to 25% for the paid advisors for the first 3 deals, and then after that it increases to 30%. So again, giving you guys a bigger reward and share of the slice of the pie, as it were. Now, to give you an idea of the current funding deals that we're working through with clients, with our advisors, the average commission we're receiving is about £6,500. So, you guys are the mathematicians in the room. You can certainly see that actually the increase that you receive, whether that's something you decide to pass on to your clients, or like one of our advisors, James, who plants trees with the money that he receives, or you want to take that yourself, which actually covers some of your costs, but also can cover the cost of the subscription with ourselves as well. I guess the other fundamental area that we really needed to support on, and this is the one where Sam came in and has done an amazing job, and Stuart was praising it earlier, and I'm sure he will as we go through, is actually helping educate you and understand why funding and why, more about the funding landscape. And again, back to that point of having the confidence to have the conversation in the first instance, because we all know, 9 times out of 10, you want to be an expert or knowledgeable in the subject matter before you have the conversation. And that's the purpose and why we've built an education platform. So Sam, do you want to go through the education platform and just share? Thank you.
And so the whole purpose of, what Swoop education platform is doing is giving you at least the surface knowledge and the confidence to start talking about funding and the various different types of funding. Now, I've not created this to make you guys all experts, but it's just to give you enough knowledge just to have those conversations. The videos, etc., are all recorded by Swoop's experts, so don't worry, it's not just Sam and I talking at you for hours on end. So, we aren't just a technology platform, and I know that every single platform says that, but our funding team and team of experts behind the scenes have been in banks or brokerages for 10, 15, 20 years, some of them. So, it's real expertise that's being shared here. So, yeah, just wanted to give you a brief outline of the sorts of things that are being discussed in there, and then I will just go into just to show you what one of the modules actually looks like. I have to do this on, let's go to preview. So this is the one for raising loan finance. So if I just hit start course, what we've tried to do is make sure that there's a mix of video learning and written learning. Everyone works in different ways, and everyone learns in at different speeds, etc. So I didn't want to just chuck just videos at you, and I didn't want to chuck just writing at you. So it's got a really nice blend. There's lots of case studies and things like that go throughout, of just different ways that you can start to talk about funding and really grasp the key topics that your clients either may be asking you about, or that you can just be proactive and ask your clients about themselves. So yeah, just maybe this is the first time to bring Stuart on, who has been through the education platform. Stuart, if you wouldn't just mind saying a bit about how you found the education and what it's done for you and your confidence.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I found the training absolutely, it was just at my right pace. As I said to Sam previously, I used to, when I was doing training, I'd always chase the certificates, just get through the course as quick as I could, knowing that I had a certificate at the end. With this, I haven't. I've taken it really, really steady, because I found it very engaging, very informative, and it's changed the way I talk to my clients. It's given me, a more vocabulary, a bigger vocabulary to discuss things that I didn't know before, and it's been very enlightening.
Thank you. That's great. That's great to hear. And what it does as well is, if you've got a team of younger accountants coming through who don't just want to sit there churning out accounts and tax returns. I was definitely one of those when I was in practice. Is it starts to get them thinking about the bigger picture and what the numbers really mean, and how to get started, how to have those first sorts of conversations and stuff. So yeah, it's not just aimed at you guys, the business owners. It's definitely aimed at your teams as well. And it gives you some advice just about how to get started in terms of building that funding advisory and funding advisory service. And Sam, I'm sure we don't mind, we can share a little playbook with all of you. If anyone would be interested in seeing our funding playbook, we can send that over to you. Just drop a message in the chat and let me know if you'd like to see that. Just another nice little way to get started, something you can keep on your desk perhaps.
Yeah, hot off the press as well. It's getting ready to be printed for Accountex, but yeah, absolutely. We've literally just been finished, so I'm more than happy to share that. And as Sam said, it's a great way to get started, and or revisit as well. You know, people might be on the journey, but actually it's good to revisit to see if there is anything that has been missed. Thank you very much, both on there. What I will do now is just take you through a little bit to show you the new platform. Now, some of you may have signed up already. Again, what we'll do is I'll just show you how simplistic and easy it is to get clients added to the system, and just give you a brief tour. If anybody wants any more in detail demos or anything, then I'm more than happy to jump on a call and take you through it. So this, if you haven't seen it before, is the new platform. Now, in transparency, the previous platform was built for SMEs, and then it was kind of, if I dare say, hacked to support advisors. But what it meant is you could only be an individual user. You couldn't collaborate with your colleagues, and also you had to answer 26 questions to get a client into the system, which we know advisors, you know that client, you know we've now gone back to, we only need basic information to get them in the system, and then we can start building that out if we need to. Now, if you think it was built before for an SME, we needed that information from them to be able to make the decisions. We know we can work and collaborate with you to get that information. So what I'm going to do is just show you, and this is live as well, so let's see what happens here. Let's see. So when you're adding a client, you can add them manually, or you can invite the client. So they're actually adding themselves and connecting their open banking data and their accounting data. We'll go manual for now. And again, I don't know, I'm just going to, what came up there, we'll just stick any business that comes through here. Now, what this is doing is he's pulling information from Companies House. So we've got Joe Limited, for example, again, publicly available information. So we're not doing anything untoward or anything like that. You put the reasons in for the client, why they're looking for funding. You can put more than one on there if you like to, and then what is it they're actually looking for. You know, for this one, we're going to say they're looking for equity and loans and grants. We're looking for 50,000 and turnover 200 million, 2 million. Why not? And then what we have here, the reason why we've got this here is this is just to understand. How do you want to engage with the client? Is it you're going to be working with us direct, or is it going to be you just want, do you know what, this is my client, this is what they're looking for, please can you pick up the phone and speak to them? And it's really important that from the outset, for Sam and his team to understand how you want us to engage your clients. You know, some accounting firms that we work with, they don't even know that Swoop exists, because we are just sitting in the background and giving them, showing the options that are available for the client. Some will have joint conversations with us and the fund managers, and then some will say, actually, just go direct to the client. Again, it's horses for courses. It depends what people want, but that's the purpose of this bit here. So once I've added the client, here we go. This worked, great. It's always a good start. What we've done is the information that I filled in is in here. It's also pulling, it's actually a dissolved business that I've just selected, but anyway, you can see it's pulling through who the directors are and everything through Companies House. And then if we were looking, so you can see how simple it was to get the information in. Now, if we're then looking for matches, you'll start to see ones that are showing within here. And if you want to drill in and add more information, you can do, and that will then determine what the funding matches are going to come out with. So again, the more information that you're adding into the system, the more honing it's going to do. But genuinely, at this point, once the client has been added, this is where we get involved, and this is where we get an alert to say that the client's been added. We will contact you and say, okay, tell us a bit more about that client. What is it they're looking for realistically, and how can we support them? But you'll see here we've got matches for loans, we've got matches for equity, and we've also got matches for grants. So again, we've done here is with the grants, we've pulled in their location and also the sector they're in. And then you can see what information it'll pull out the top 3, and then you can drill down to see which ones are available for the business. Now, again, we've recognized that some kind of innovative edge to this business, so we've pulled this one up. You want to go into more information, then click through, and then again, we've got all that data held in there as well. If it's the local ones, or like I said, the smaller ones, apply direct, and these ones we can support with our grant writers. So
Sam's, Maura's got a question. Has not-for-profit and community interest companies been added as industries and legal structure?
It's been raised, Maura. Yes, I saw Eddie had raised it with the team, and I know it's been added. I will get you an update, and I'll get Eddie to confirm that with you. But yeah, it was a great point on there. When you looked at the drop down, it wasn't actually an option on there, so you couldn't find what grants are available. So again, you can see it says it in the top corner. We are constantly improving this, and this is where we turn to you guys as well, because we built something what we think is right, but actually you're the advisors, you're the accountants that see this at the coalface. Please tell us if there's anything else that you want added into there. So Maura, thank you for adding that one as well. It was a great shout at the time.
And thank you for shouting for it, because I have a community interest company as well, so I could do with some funding.
Yeah. What Maura's meaning there is when we go through and start drilling down on the funding matches, you can put in exactly what company it is. So there might be more than one sector that they're in, and it doesn't exist on here. That's what, unless they've added it in now. No, I can't see anything on there. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? If it just literally been popped in without me knowing. It would go under other, which doesn't help, or social enterprise, I guess, is the closest that we have currently. So that's how we get the information. Once we've added that information, you can see what's going on from a funding matches perspective. We can also, if we've got the accounting integration, we can pull more data through and get an idea of a basic P&L and so on within there. And then in terms of storing the data, the documents, really, really straightforward. Adding a new document within here. I don't really need to show you that. Well, I can do it. Why not? Just that'll do. And then, all we need to do is just label it up exactly what it is. And then we can add that to the system. And then we've got the information stored within here. And then our fund managers can find that straight off the bat. Really, really easy to deposit the information. In terms of reviewing your clients, you'll see them all on the home screen. You can also view the application status of the clients as well. So if you have submitted, or we are in process with a client, annoyingly on this account I didn't have any in there because this is a live account, not a dummy account. You would be able to see your client listed down here, who we've applied with, what product we're looking for, how much it is, the application status, and also how much you are due to receive from a commission stance as well. So really, really good to keep you up to date on that. You can access our education platform directly through the system. You can also create tasks within here as well if you need to, regards to each of your clients, if there's things that you need to call them up on, and essentially, so it's just about keeping you abreast of what's going on and understanding that you're contacting the clients as and when required. In terms of users, really straightforward. Just add your users in here. We've got different levels with different access. I think that's pretty much it. It's very straightforward, and it's purposely been designed to be straightforward because it's about getting information in and then having the conversation with us and understanding what's going on. Mindful that we have, as always, rabbited on for quite some time. So what I want to do now is actually turn this over to a conversation with Stuart. And maybe, Stuart, you want to pick up on a few of the different areas that we've been discussing. But I know Sam was going to kick off and ask you a couple of questions, and then we can take some Q&A as well at the same time.
If anyone else has questions for Stuart and wants an unbiased view of, we haven't paid him anything yet, then do feel free to reach out. But Stuart, I was just interested to hear from your point of view, before you partnered with Swoop, how often funding came up, how you reacted to those sorts of things, and how you supported your clients in that way before Swoop.
Well, before Swoop, basically I waited for clients to come to me. They approached me and said, "Oh, do you know anywhere I need some financing?" But now, since I've been with Swoop, I've been sort of very proactive in the respect. I'm actually going to clients saying, "Oh, we now do this service. It's all part of my service now." And and even just sort of like doing some of the marketing material that I've been sending out. I've had people that aren't even my clients, just contacting me saying, "Oh, can you sort of look at my recovery loan scheme and stuff like this? What grants are available?"
Yeah, and I think it's fantastic as well, because what you do with your clients, you're mainly focusing on micro entities, but you're still finding opportunities to talk about funding. And I think it's fantastic, because quite often we make assumptions about our clients based on the size of revenue, how long they'll be going, etc. But we shouldn't make assumptions, because actually at some point in every business's life cycle, they probably are going to need funding of some description to help them to reach their potential.
Definitely.
Awesome. So, how's it going now?
Yeah, it's going really well. I mean, as I was saying, it's given me sort of like another, a string of my bow. It's things that I, instead of just compliance all the time, when I'm talking to my clients and prospective clients, potentials, I'm including this in my sort of presentation that, I'm now working with Swoop, alongside Swoop rather, I think the point you touched on as well earlier, grants, everybody's ears pick up when you say grants. Yeah. They get really excited, which is really good. So many people just say, "Oh, what am I doing for?" And before, I've always, when I've been sourcing grants for clients, it's been like a morning's work.
Absolutely. And Maura, you're completely right. So Maura just popped in the chat there. Clients are always interested in what potential funding is available, especially post-COVID. And this is a good way of having a one-stop shop. You're absolutely right. And it makes you guys look amazing in front of your clients, that you can give them such a variety of options. I think, great point.
I was going to say, I'm currently looking at Stuart's website, and you now have a page on funding, don't you, which didn't exist before, which is great. It's got obviously our branding on there as well. And I know Sam worked with you on that, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Yeah.
Stuart, you have a big event next week. Do you want to tell us a bit about that and how you're sort of incorporating funding as part of that?
Yeah, I'm doing a presentation to 100 startup businesses up in London. I got invited to do that by this government initiative, and I've actually got a half-hour slot to talk to them with a quarter of an hour question and answer session at the end. And obviously, speaking to Sam, I said, I can't talk about compliance for half an hour. They'll be asleep. So I said how I really wanted to incorporate the funding side of it. Make that quite a big part, because it's the sexy part, as was said earlier. It's going to get their attention. So Sam kindly, obviously, I've got brochures and everything ready for the event. Sam's kindly sent me something to add to my brochure, and just a complete breakdown of all the different sorts of funding at the stages, which I think is just going to be so helpful for startups. They're going to know, a mapping future for them in funding.
Absolutely. And, you work quite closely with a number of different accounting firms, don't you, Stuart?
I do, yes.
And so you're doing the bookkeeping side, and then it gets passed on to, and one of the reasons I was so keen to have you on today is because I suppose it's a warning shot to some accounting firms not to underestimate the bookkeeper, and the fact that you are now confident talking to clients and sometimes their clients about funding. And you've been the one in quite a few occasions that have spotted the opportunity with the client, and without the accounting firm themselves knowing there might be that opportunity.
Yes, I haven't had any feedback from the accountant on that at this stage, but yes, it was quite a large opportunity, and that was literally just through the initial conversation. I was saying I partnered with Swoop, and that client just automatically said, "Can you find out about our recovery loan scheme? We want to refinance." It's quite a large one, and that was great. With that, they didn't even consider going to the accountants at that stage.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing as well? Before we started the recording, chatting with Stuart, and Stuart actually apologised to Sam for the amount he's been leaning on him. And as Sam quite rightly said, that's what the service is there for. Genuinely is about being able to enable you, give you the confidence, and be able to go out and have those conversations. So yeah, as we said to Stuart, it's absolutely fine. That is why we've created this service. And that is exactly what we want to do. And, that's Sam's passion as well, is helping advisors like yourself.
Oh, definitely. I've certainly had my hand held during this process, and I needed it. But, as the training, the more into the training, and obviously the longer it's going on, the confidence is just building and building and building.
Yeah.
And
it's true. For those that might not be sure about whether to stick on the free one or to move on the paid one, what would be your advice? What would you say is the value of coming onto the paid side?
I would thoroughly recommend the paid side. For me, initially probably the support, the training, that whole package for me was, because it was something that I really wanted to make a service of my business. I wanted that to be, I wanted the web page, I wanted to be professional, I wanted to make sure that I had everything covered. And I felt this was the way. And, going through this, it's just made me realize it was the way. The support has been absolutely fantastic. I don't mean to embarrass you, but it has.
Embarrass away. Please go on.
It's been, really, really helpful. Again, going back to training, it's been so helpful for me. I've been able to do it at my own pace, and it's very instructive. And I've been doing bits, and as I said before, I used to run away with it. I'm focusing on that bit, and then I'm going away having this conversation about what I've just gone through and stuff like that, which is just something I would never have done before.
Yeah. Thank you, Stuart. That's very kind. Yeah, I'm reluctant to make this a super salesy finish to the webinar. I definitely don't want to make that, but I suppose the point that I would make is, if you're serious about making funding a key part of your service offering, and I'm yet to see someone manage to do that on the free service, and the ones who are having the most success and will continue to do this scalably and sustainably are the ones that do see this as a partnership and something that they want to work quite closely with. I can't help but meddle and get involved in marketing, recruitment, pricing, everything else, any other challenges you might have as a business. And those are the things that I'm really, really, really passionate about. And whatever it is you have to overcome to be able to talk to your clients about funding, we'll be there with you to help you to do that.
Yeah, I echo that. And I guess the other thing that we are building as within this advisor team is actually, we want to work with accountants who want to work with us. And I know that sounds really silly because, but we know people reluctantly sign up to subscriptions and so on. It's genuinely, it has to be a partnership. It has to be something that you want, and we want you to succeed, essentially. And it really is about that willingness has to be there. Whether the ability is there at the time, that's fine. We can work on that, but the willingness to work and understand that there is going to be some painful points. And it's going to take time to get everything in play and implemented right. That's basically where we sit, and long may that continue. And we look forward to working with you all, much closer as time comes. We are, speaking of time, coming very close to the end. We have 1 minute left. If you do want to get in touch with any of us, obviously the email that you received for this invite is directly from my email. So you can reply directly. We have advisor@swoopfundingaswell.com, which is also an email you can send through, or alternatively, you can contact us. Again, my contact details are on there as well. I just wanted to say massive thank you to everybody that has joined, and really thank you, Sharon. That's really nice to hear. It's lovely to hear, actually. Thank you. And it's also, massive thank you to Stuart for joining us today and obviously sharing time for the last hour. Huge thank you to Sam for obviously being part of this and supporting the advisors in the way they are. And you know what? If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing these. So really, really nice to hear from that perspective. And any questions anyone has, please do give us a shout. And if you don't speak to us before, we will be at Accountex for the 2 days. And if you do attend Accountex, please make sure you put your dancing shoes on. I think we'll leave it at that, Sam. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and hopefully speaking to you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.